This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There it is. He is ready to go, locked and loaded on a beautiful Monday. Not on the football side, but it is a beautiful Monday because the good Lord allows us to enjoy another day on this earth. How you doing? Oh, you hanging in there?
Yeah, man. I feel blessed despite what's happening in the football world. I'm blessed. My wife this morning, just to give you a scope of what life is like, my wife this morning driving to work, somebody on I-95 at the 6:30 hour. I don't know. They must have had some sort of emergency, but they swerved out of the emergency lane and crossed 4 lanes and had an accident and literally ended up right next to my wife. Wow. And took out 2 cars. That's just God's favor, and I'm blessed and thankful that she wasn't involved in it. But you know, this happens to people every day. You're not guaranteed to wake up, and you're not guaranteed to have a heart attack when you're in a car. Yeah. So you know, I'm lucky. You got to learn to be thankful for the little things.
Yeah, when you hear those kind of things, you can tell it's somebody that had some kind of a medical condition right away, because those are those odd crashes. You know what I mean? It's like, well, once you hear it, like, oh, it went right through the window pane of a business, and you're like, okay, that poor person must have had, you know, something happen to them at that moment, and hopefully everything will work out. The good thing is they didn't hit your wife, so that's definitely a good thing, my brother. All right. So we're waking up on a Monday where everybody wants everybody fired.
Yep.
And wants to replace everybody,
yep.
or trade for Watson, because of course Watson behind this offensive line would answer everything. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, that's the other thinking. Some guy sent me a text. He goes, I thought the idea was to get a quarterback that could play even behind, you know, bad O-lines. And I'm like, there's no quarterback that's going to play behind this O-line. You know, you can be missing your second or third tackle on one side, that you're on your second or third string tackle. Or
yeah.
You can't play with 4 young guys that are completely lost, and they're all trying to figure this out at the same level. That is so hard for any quarterback to play behind that.
I don't disagree with you, but I didn't think they were the problem yesterday.
That's the weird part, right? This was probably their better game out of the 3.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is, you know, they weren't horrible. Now, we've seen horrible. We know what horrible looks like. They weren't horrible. You know, when your team is converting 3 of 18 on third downs, you know, that might not be your offensive line. You know, when your team is rushing for what they rush for, like 130 something.
They did pretty good.
Yeah, at 133. That's pretty damn good. That's not just, you know, sacks. What did they give up? 2 sacks? I'll take that. I'll take that. 133 and 2 sacks. I'll take that every day. I'll take that every single Sunday. So, I mean, and you know, I'm a critic of the offensive line. If this is the performance that they're going to give you every single Sunday, sign me up. Absolutely sign me up.
Boy, the bar's low.
I mean, I have covered the Dolphins for 2 decades. I mean, for 14 years, 2 good offensive lines since probably about 3 good offensive lines since 2000. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, we gotta look it up. I'll look it up later. How many units gave 133 rushing yards and 2 sacks? I might say 10 in the NFL, and the majority of them probably won their games.
And 2 good pass rushers. Doesn't mean everybody has 2 good pass rushers that you're facing. They were facing 2 good pass rushers on that team yesterday. Are you at the point you've given up on all these people? Because like I'm still not ready to give up on the line.
Which people? You got to be more specific.
I'm talking about, you know, the draft picks that are all being questioned right now. to the O-line, not just Austin, the O-line. I mean, we don't hear Robert Hunt's name that much, but people are complaining about the O-line not being, good enough, that all these picks are a disaster. And I haven't seen enough football, and I don't think it's fair to say anybody that's even playing well has arrived, or anybody that's playing poorly is a failure. I'm just not ready yet when you've only played a year of football.
I think the only person that I will give a satisfactory grade for on that team, performance-wise, is Xavier Howard. And even he can play better because he's allowed 2 touchdowns this season. But I know who Xavier is. I'm sorry, he's gonna allow touchdowns. It is the nature of how he plays. He takes risks, and he wins, he loses. Everybody else, I can't, everybody else can play better. And even Xavier can play better. Everybody else can coach better. I would say I'm just as critical on the coaching that I'm seeing as I am the general manager's performance or the player's execution. There's nothing that's going right so far. I mean, you're lucky and fortunate Xavier Howard forced the fumble and recovered it to have 1 win. Otherwise, you'd be 0-3. And people looking to take moral victories from the fact that they came from behind after giving up 14 points, like, that's a loser's mentality. You should have taken care of business. You were up 14-0, like, put your foot on the neck. That wasn't what you did. You let them back in the game.
Well, one of the problems that I have in that game is you end up signing a quarterback that you have zero confidence in, because you're inside the 5, Brissett.
Okay, Jacob, you're saying.
Yeah, because you're inside the 5 and you keep running wildcats. And even with him, you didn't even put him to pass it. You had him run it in. You end up settling for the 50-yard field goal because you don't have the cojones to go with the. Now, he threw a terrible interception a couple of weeks ago, and then yesterday that brain fart of a throw that he had in his own end zone. That play, and
that had to be a QB read option. That had to be a QB read option. He just made the wrong read.
That play, the way I explained it on the video when I posted it, is the second it's snapped to you, you throw right away. You don't look and take a step back. And that's what he did. He took the ball, he took a step back to look and then throw. By that time, he already told the DB what he's doing. That's why that play never worked. If you're going to run that play, it has to be, you don't move.
You don't run that play.
No, I know you don't.
You don't run that play.
I know, but if you're going to do it,
you don't run that play.
I get that, but because
whether you took a snap and threw it immediately, even with Jalen Waddle, you don't run that play.
You get out of the end zone.
You run, you get an extra yard, and then you run that play.
I get that, but that's not my point. My point is that if you're going to make that throw because the DB's off, because Jalen Waddle's fast and you're afraid of him getting behind you, I get it. But if you're going to make that play, Brissett has to be a lot smarter about it and know that the second he hesitated, the play was dead already.
Let me ask you a question, and let me play devil's advocate here. When the hell have you seen them run that play in the first 3 games? The quick screen to Waddle. Well, you haven't. You haven't. So why are you running it in the end zone?
Well, obviously,
that's the definition of moronic.
That's what I'm telling you about the quarterback. Whether
I mean, the quarterback, he said, that's on me, my bad. I shouldn't have made that read and made that throw.
Right.
But why, as the offensive coordinator, are you even calling that play in that situation?
He didn't call that play. That obviously was a brain fart.
No. The play was designed for that to be an option. You took that. The quarterback took that option.
I think that's a brain fart on him, dude.
That's a brain fart on everybody.
No, that's a brain fart.
Why is that in your backed-in package? If you have a backed-in package, and everybody should have a backed-in package. If you don't have a backed-in package, you should be fired. But if that's your backed-in package, why the hell is that play number 1?
Well, this is why I'm telling you, when you watch the other plays in the game and they don't trust him, that go back to that and go back to the other interception he threw a couple weeks ago that was like 8 hours late. And why? Because he is slow as molasses, bro. He is slow. He reads it, but he computes it slow as shit.
He's not the problem. He's not the reason you're going to win games.
He's a problem. He's a problem.
He's a backup quarterback.
They were
a backup quarterback.
In spite of him. They were in that game in spite
of him. They were in that game because of him. He doesn't scramble for that 18 yards and get them in position to throw that. He gets the PI. He throws the pass to Gesicki on 4th down.
I know he made a couple of plays.
Without him, they're not even in the game.
Yeah, well, there's you give him 50 throws, dude. The sun's gonna shine on some dog's ass.
You can give Josh Rosen 50 throws, and he ain't doing.
You gave him 50 effing throws.
You can give Josh Rosen 50 throws. He ain't doing shit with it.
But that's another level of shittiness. You're just going to another level. That's all.
I mean, when I'm factoring in shittiness, like Jacoby's okay. He ain't Brock Osweiler. Like Brock Osweiler is my level of shittiness.
Well, yeah, I get that. I get
this
that.
team won games with Brock.
At White and Rosen.
I'm just talking about guys who started games.
Low. I get all that crap, but it's just you signed the guy. It's the guy that you have no confidence in. Why did you sign him?
If I'm putting the list, and I used to do this, and I probably need to get back at it. I usually go like a top 3 list of people or things that you need to blame on that loss. Jacoby isn't in the top 5 because without him, he's not even in that game.
No, you're right. He's not, because I gotta blame personnel and the coach for actually signing him, because why the hell would you have somebody on the roster you don't trust?
What backup QB are you prefer? Give me your backup QB of choice. Because
Patrick.
He's a starter. He's an NFL starter, so that doesn't count. He's an NFL starter that made $10 million this season, even though he suffered a hip injury. So that doesn't count. Now, if you want to debate that he should be the starting quarterback, I'll entertain that conversation. Because
no, I don't want him as a starter. But
what backup?
Bring him back for a backup.
Did you want? Like, if you want to go and say, oh, they should have traded for Teddy Bridgewater and have them compete, or they should have gotten Matt Stafford, or we can entertain those conversations.
That's a start.
I can't. Yeah, no. I'm just saying, in terms of decisions that were made, that would have been a better situation for Sunday. I can have those conversations, but I really can't think of a better backup quarterback than Jacoby. He's not phenomenal, but he's not bad. Now, should he be throwing 50 times a game? No.
Especially on a day you actually ran the ball some.
Yeah.
Which I would have liked to have seen them run the ball a little bit more. Except in certain situations, like
this window of 3 games, you should be fixing your O-line and running the ball. Win or loss.
I agree.
Fix the O-line and run the ball. But they could have walked away with an overtime. They could have walked away with overtime tie. Let's put the blame where it belongs. The defense. Like,
I know.
They shit the bed at the end of the game. And yeah, you could say make excuses for them after excuses. Oh, they're tired, or is a bad match.
No, I don't care about that. You got to find a way to make a play. You got to find a way to make.
You got to find a way to make a play. They didn't, and that's the strength of their team. So they got to take that loss on the chin. That the offense will be responsible for plenty of losses, but that's on you.
Do you get when do you guys get the coordinators? Is that today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to be interested to see.
They don't discuss anything that happened in the last game, which is just moronic.
Oh, they've moved on.
They've moved on. Yeah, like and so you could sit there and you could want to dissect, like, what the bleep were you thinking in this situation? They'll be like, oh, we've moved on to the next game, and like you're. Like,
especially if it was really Jacoby's fault, they're not going to want to bury the kid.
Yeah.
So they're instead of piling on, they're going to say, "Oh, we moved on."
Jacoby fell on the sword. He's like, "That was dumb. It was on me. I take total responsibility for it. I shouldn't have done that in any even if it was played, you should have called. Even if it was called, you should have said, "No, that's not what we're doing."
Right.
That's just dumb.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody in the league who looked at that play and said, that's a smart play. That might have worked if. No, everybody would say that's dumb. That's dumb.
Yeah.
You don't call that play. You don't call that play on the half-a-yard line.
If anything, that should have been a fake, where you faked it to there and then went somewhere else.
Then handed it off. If that happened, you faked it to a quick hitch and then handed it off to Myles Gaskin or whoever, I'd be like, all right, I could buy that. But
right.
That play was just dumb. Like, there's no, and in hindsight, and that's the thing. There are too many, and I wrote this column in the Sun Sentinel. There have been too many plays, and I'm about giving Godsey and Stuttsville their chance, their opportunity. I don't want to sit there and say, well, Godsey's going to be a horrible OC because of what he did in Houston. He wasn't really the full play caller in Houston. That the head coach had play calling power and authority. He prepared the team for the week. And he had 2 playoff teams and got fired because of Brock. He couldn't help the Brock Osweiler become a good quarterback. Like, yeah,
this whole dual OC thing. Here's where there's a hole in people's arguments. Didn't they run the ball yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess half the coordinators did well.
Hey, if you want
I'm sorry. Because this whole dual OC thing ain't working, right?
I 1,000% agree with you. One guy's responsible for the run game, one guy's responsible for the pass game. That's where I will assign blame. And if you want to say Stuttsville used to be calling plays right now from this point, I'd be like, all right, I don't disagree with you.
But that's not the point. The point is maybe they just called the game that they could only call. That's my problem. I'm wondering if the coach also put a little bit of kibosh on them and said, yeah, in these key situations, take the ball out of Brissett's hands. You know what I mean? Because it was an indictment that you're inside the 5 and you refuse to throw the ball. It's an indictment where you have a chance to win the game.
But hold on.
Selling for a tie.
Hold on.
Go for it.
Let me just say this, and I wrote this in my column. The person who taught me not to question play calling on a consistent basis was Bobby Bowden, because he said there are so many different things and studies and circumstances and things that go into our decision making, and unfortunately for us, you can question play calling because you know the end result. Miami might have saw something with their defensive tackles, and they don't have great defensive tackles, in film that said, hey, these Wildcat runs are going to work. And in fairness to them, their Wildcat plays are their best goal line plays, which is why they keep in practice, which is why they keep calling it. Okay?
Right.
Now, put that to the side. Yes, they have to be committed to it to run it 2 straight times. The execution probably was the issue as opposed to the play call. Now, do I like the play call? No, but we should not get in the habit of questioning play calls because we don't know all that goes into it, what they've studied versus versus the Raiders, what analytics say, what their success rate in the Wildcat package in practice has been.
Now, wait a minute, but I'm not questioning the play calling. I'm just questioning the obvious because
they don't trust Brissett.
Yeah, because there was 2 different scenarios. You're inside the 5.
They didn't trust Tua either. They didn't Wildcat with Tua in the goal line.
Well, that's fine. They didn't trust him. That's
they
fine.
Might feel like that's their best package.
But on a quarterback sneak, I'd rather have Brissett than Tua. That's a different decision. But what I'm saying is, when you're going for the field goal and you could have gone for the win, you know what I mean? You got nothing else to lose.
Oh,
and you what? What do you mean? What? You don't think so?
You would have went for the win instead of.
Yeah, instead of going for the field goal for the tie, you go for 4th down and you try to keep that drive alive, and you go for 7 eventually. Well, I mean, if you have a quarterback that you can count on, you will.
Nothing's going your way as a team. Like take the field goal and hope Oakland shoots himself in the foot and Xavier puts on a cape and saves your ass. Like don't play hero. Don't like who on your team is a hero other than Xavier. You gonna play hero?
that's my point. Since you don't have somebody that you can rely on as a hero, this is what ends up happening.
Yeah, which is why you should kick the field goal and hope Derek Carr, plays hero ball and shoots himself in the foot. Like that pass that Derek Carr threw that basically got them in scoring territory before the big run. That could have easily been a turnover.
No, the big run is what got him in scoring.
Yeah, but that got him to the 50. Like,
okay. And as I told you yesterday, and as I told you last night, X had the chance to make the tackle on that big run. Him and Jalen Phillips, and they both whiffed on that tackle, and then he went for 27 yards on that run. So that was X had a chance to save the day there and did not.
They were moving, they were driving, they were going to get. Derek Carr is a pretty good fourth quarter quarterback.
No, he's a good quarterback, bro. He's a good
and the way he's performed and the way he's matured, and people will piss all over the Raiders' 3-0 start, and that's fair and that's fine. But Derek Carr is more than a capable starting quarterback in the NFL.
You can easily. It's the same crap that goes on with Garoppolo. When people talk shit about Garoppolo, you can win with Garoppolo. The problem with Garoppolo is he doesn't stay healthy. But it's almost they make both the same. They make it sound like, oh no, Garoppolo can't get it done. No, Garoppolo can get it done. He can play. Last night he put his team in victory mode. It's just obviously another great quarterback grabs the ball and takes it downfield. He did his job. His problem is health.
Man, wouldn't it be great to have one of those quarterbacks?
I'm with you on Derek Carr. Derek Carr's also had some health issues. But Derek, you can win a Super Bowl with either one of those guys.
Wouldn't it be great to have a quarterback who does what Aaron Rodgers does?
Oh, Jesus. Well, we had one years ago.
But
all the time. All the damn time. I mean, he retired with the most fourth quarter comebacks. When you don't have a defense and a running game, you were forced to do those kind of things all the time. Marino used to do that all the time. It was like, oh, he's got 50 seconds. Plenty of time. That's how spoiled we were with Marino.
Yeah.
A minute 10. Oh, dude, Dan's got plenty of time to drive him downfield. Sure enough, touchdown. Sure enough. Always. Now, if the great quarterback got it back like Aaron Rodgers on the other side, Dan would watch his defense give up the other score, and then that's how he would lose. Richard Todd would do it or somebody else would do it, and you're like, holy shit, damn it, bro. Dan set us up, and boom, it's the defense giving it up. That's what happened a lot of times, which is sad. And imagine how many more fourth quarter comebacks he would have had if the defense actually could have held some of those after some of the drives that he put them in the lead, which was disturbing. All right, so then do you expect any more changes on the offensive line? Because Austin Jackson actually had some positive moments, and then he had some negative moments too.
Why change? Why change now? Like, okay. What else are you gonna do? Your top five are actually playing. Greg Little hasn't even been active for a game. Maybe I changed my center. Like, but what's the upside there?
He hasn't been bad. He hasn't been the problem.
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about Flo's philosophy of starting the top five guys, I think now your fifth guy is Dieter. So, if somebody's going to unseat Dieter, okay. But I mean, I don't like Liam was the weak link yesterday. He's a rookie. He played, he played, he made mistakes. He learned from it. Right. As I said, until you get to the Jacksonville game, win or loss, this stretch is about stop being a bitch ass team and learn how to run the football, learn how to stop the run so you can stop being a bitch ass team, get after the quarterback and solidify your offensive line. Like, start focusing on winning in the trenches, because until you stop being a bitch ass team, this stuff is going to happen. This isn't the quarterback's problem. This isn't Jacoby Brissett problem. This is, you're a bitch ass team and have always been a bitch ass team. You can't stop the run and you can't run the football. Like, for me, you can't protect the quarterback. That's the starch the mashed potatoes and gravy for your meal, that's what's gonna fill you up. We can sit here and want lobster and sea bass, and we're gonna walk away hungry because we don't have any starch in the meal. Like, get some starch, man. Get something that's gonna fill you up. Take the pressure off everybody. Even when Tua comes back, how good is he without an offensive line and a running game? He's gonna be the same quarterback. He's gonna be hurt. He's gonna get hurt again. He's gonna have all the pressure on him. That's why I was like, they got to get Najee Harris. And I know he's not doing great out there, but you know what he can do? He can pass protect and he can run that 4-minute offense. You know, I like Myles Gaskin, but can he be an every down back? No. Now your lead back is Malcolm Brown. Great. Nobody else wants him to be their lead back in the NFL, but that's your lead back. Okay.
Yeah, they have not invested heavily at that position. They have gone half-ass at that position.
Perfect. And I get it why they did it, but you had 2 shots and 2 drafts to select the running back. And it wasn't a priority.
Yeah, their bigger problem really still is the O-line, because even the running backs that they have would be serviceable if they actually had a really good line overall. And that's but see,
and the O-line is just players that they
you're talking about Eichenberg. He's 3 games into his career. Yeah. I can't judge that kid. I have a hard time judging any of these guys.
Austin Jackson might be 12 games into his career. Austin Jackson might be 12 games into. I mean, might be 16 games into his career.
Yeah, so, it's not a lot of time for these guys to develop. That's my problem with all of this, and that's why I'm not quick on giving up, especially on the O-line, because sometimes O-linemen take a while, and none of those guys were picked top 5, top 8, or whatever.
Let's be real. Austin Jackson didn't deserve to be a first-round pick. Let's be real about it. You reached to get what you needed, and there's nothing wrong with it. You did that with Eichenberg when you felt like you needed to trade up to go get him because you didn't want to reach. I respect that. The problem I have is talent evaluation. And you looked at all the personnel. In my mind, when I watched the first week of training camp, the first practice in pads that they had, the first couple of practice in pads that they had, and I watched how they got bitch slapped, and then they took it to Chicago, and I watched how they got bitch slapped again. I said to myself, yeah, this ain't it. This is not going to be good enough. And nothing has changed my mind still. And when you saw that, you should have done something. And they did make 2 trades, but one guy can't be active and the other guy is just a backup. So what can you do more? And there is more that you can do to do something to fix it or patch it. You can go out there and get a veteran. The question is, in your mind, are you saying we're still investing in youth? Are you investing in youth, or are you trying to save your season? Because I'm sure they're not at the point where they're trying to save their season, but we're getting close to it.
Oh no, they're close to it.
They're getting close to it.
Close to it, because this week becomes pretty much a must win, because you're going to lose to Tampa. So
they can shock Tampa. They're going to have a great game plan.
They can shock Kansas City, who has not played for like a year now. They haven't really played good football. They kind of been living on the seat of their pants.
Still getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I get that, but that's because they're so talented.
And truth be told,
they're not even playing up to their. But Tampa is focused. I don't think Miami beats Tampa.
Tampa could go into that game sleepwalking, and they could get hit with a rash of COVID like any team in the NFL. You never know.
Now you threw COVID in there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, COVID is the ultimate
equalizer. Everybody's healthy. Tampa's kicking Miami's ass.
COVID could wipe out the entire Dolphins right now this week.
No, I get that, but that's not playing the game. I'm talking about the game itself.
Oh, talent-wise?
Yeah, see, Tampa, it doesn't have the hangover that Kansas City still has from the Super Bowl that they won 2 years ago. They are still on that hangover. They're playing like shit. They fall behind all the time now. And here's Mahomes magic and all that stuff, and it's caught up to them a little bit.
It would be nice to have a quarterback who can do magic.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying it's a shame because they're so gifted. They need to get their shit straight because they can win more than just one title. They might become that team that only wins one, and you're like, oh crap, you had that opportunity.
If they're Seattle, they still got a title. I would still, I still take it. I mean, they're not a dynasty.
You just answered my question. Your answer fueled my fire right there because that's the team that we all will always look back and go, Legion of Doom, and they only have one title, and obviously one of the worst decisions in the history of the NFL on Super Bowl Sunday.
Russell Wilson's still going into the Hall of Fame because he got one ring.
No, I get that. There's a bunch of guys that should go to the Hall of Fame from that team, but my point is, we still say to ourselves, yeah, they probably should have won more than one. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to get in that where I can have that conversation about being a team that won just one.
Like, oh no, I get it.
We've had 2 decades of mediocrity. Hell, I just want a playoff win.
I give Tampa a lot of credit that after winning, they have come back really focused. Whereas
it's early. It's early. I'm not giving them any credit, and I love Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians is my favorite coach. I'm not giving them any credit because they're playing with the greatest quarterback of all time. Like,
yeah, that's my point. He's the guy keeping them in check.
It makes everything, and that's my thing. I'm starting to reevaluate things now, and Aaron Rodgers is out there, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be looking for a new home, and Aaron Rodgers is looking for a Brady situation. I think I'm willing to give him a Brady situation. I think it's
for sure. If you're the Dolphins, hell yeah.
Like you say, Aaron, what you want? You want to be the pseudo GM? You want to be LeBron James?
Well, he's going to say, I want an offensive line if I'm going there. That's what he's going to say. Hey. It's great you guys have no state tax. Yeah. I'm glad that you guys want to sign me. And I would love to go over there, but man, you better fix that O-line.
I mean, give me Adams. I'm not
going there to bust my collarbone for a third time.
Give me Adams and give me whatever offensive line I want. Sign me up. Like, where do I sign?
Right.
Like, that's right now. And I'm not giving up on Tua. I think we're going to evaluate Tua based on what happens when he comes back from the rib cage injury, and we're not going to use the rib cage injury as an excuse. And love Tua to death. Still believe that he's going to eventually be a good quarterback in 2023. I'm committed to that.
One more injury and it's over.
I don't care about that one more injury. I want to win now.
I'm just telling you that he will probably have one more injury, and if it happens,
it's gonna happen. Don't say if it happens, it's gonna happen.
Well, then they have to turn the page at that point, unfortunately, because you no longer can count on the unreliable.
Whether you
gave it a chance, you gave it a try. You were thinking maybe that was an aberration. He went through a bad stretch. This that. Now he gets the rib injury. If he gets another injury, you have to turn the page. You have no choice.
It's not about turning the page. It's if in hindsight, we had just as equal amount of a chance at Tom Brady as Tampa Bay did. In hindsight, why don't you take that shot?
Well, at that moment they didn't. Their defense was top 10 in the second half of the season that year, leading into that offseason. They were a better team.
Yeah, they were a better team, but they're still a 7-9.
They have a pair of wide receivers that are just absolutely nasty. So, come on.
But why don't you take that mindset?
Miami doesn't have one guy. Godwin's better than everybody Miami has, period. Forget about Mike Evans. I don't even want to get into the Mike Evans conversation. Godwin alone is better than everybody Miami has.
But you know what? Brady would have brought Gronk. Brady would have brought AB, and you would have figured out how to make it work. My thing is, why didn't we think about it? Why didn't we shoot our shot? It's
I know why. Because if you would have brought Antonio Brown, he would have beat up all the movers moving from Davie to Miami Gardens. See,
it doesn't matter. Give the QB the power. Give the elite QB the power, and why not? At this point,
why do you want to get the movers getting beaten up by Antonio Brown, bro?
Antonio Brown's going to throw dicks at whoever he wants to throw dicks at. Tom Brady has him under control. Tom Brady's got Antonio Brown under control. He's the babysitter. Listen.
He hypnotizes him.
Hey, I mean, if you want a career,
Brady hangs a ring from one of his chains, and he just looks at Antonio.
Hey, if Tom Brady's got figured out a way to make it work, like I'm at the point now where I'm just tired. As is every Dolphin fan, I'm just tired of the mediocrity. We're doing it again.
I get it.
And nothing you've done has worked. Any way you've done it, however you've tried it. Let's just hand the team over to an elite quarterback. Let him figure it out. Why not?
I mean, you can't argue trading for Aaron Rodgers so you can have him for a couple years and try to make a run. I mean,
why not?
Look at last night. Last night proved that when you have those kind of guys, you're always in the game.
Take Aaron Rodgers off Green Bay. They're what, 6-win team?
Yeah, 6.
If that.
Yeah, if that.
Well, he can do that. He can do that here.
Yeah.
Give him Adams. Sign a offensive lineman.
Yeah, no, you got to sign a better line because he'll end up injured. Behind this.
Why not? Why not at this point? Yeah, everything you've done has failed.
Yeah. Watson Watson behind this line would hire 10 masseuses after each game, and Lord knows what the hell is going to happen then. If he had 22 lawsuits now, can you imagine during his Dolphin run behind that offense?
I still do that too. Once he figures out a way to get all those lawsuits behind him, why not? You act like it's headed in the right direction. We can see it's not. Like, it's not.
Well, right now, no, there's nothing right now that looks like it's headed in the right direction. I mean, can't argue that right now. Can't argue that. Even though I'm not willing to give up on people yet, I can't argue that right now. It seems like the same old.
Same old. It's the same old song we've been playing for 2 decades.
Yeah. That part I can't argue.
I'm tired. I'm tired. You're tired. Like, it's enough excuses for this team. Like, I'm sorry. It like you just had a shopping spree in 3 drafts and still got a shit roster. Like, do something different.
Yeah. I wouldn't go to a shit roster because I still think there are pieces here, but because your O-line and your quarterback are not performing, it brings the entire thing
Can't stop the run, can't run the ball, can't protect the quarterback. You're a 6-win team.
Yeah.
And these are think about the things that I just said. They're consistent during the Brian Flores era, all 3 years. Can't stop the run, can't run the ball, can't protect the quarterback. Consistent. 2019, 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
And this isn't an indictment on him.
You live off of an opportunistic defense is what you live off of. Yeah.
Opportunistic defense.
It's kind of what I've been telling
and coaching.
And
coaching. The game plans are sound.
Yeah. It's what I've been telling you about KC, that lately they kind of get into the heroics and they fall behind and then they come back and they storm back and try to and win games. Same thing here. These guys fall behind, whatever, and then they count on a turnover, some kind of game-changing play, and it's happened to them several times that really changes the fortunes of a game. But it's not because you were playing great defense the whole game. It's because you made a couple of specific plays on defense, especially on third downs, that kind of made the difference in the game.
If you want to be a different team, you got to change your identity. And I don't think – I think that they can do it. I think it would take a commitment from the coaching staff. But you got to change your identity and stop being a bitch-ass team, because you are a bitch-ass team. Teams can run at you when they want to. Teams can shut your run down, and teams can just hound your quarterback. You can't protect him. Those are three consistent things that, to me, you don't beat yourself, and you're disciplined, and you don't make penalties and turnovers.
Well, that's important.
They're all important.
Well, that's it. That's the reason why they've been able to win games.
That's the reason why they're in games. But you're still a bitch-ass team. You're still a bitch-ass team, though. You are.
You can't get to the next level. Yeah, no, I get you.
You are. You don't have the physicality that it takes. Like the Tony Sparano teams, we can say whatever we want. God rest his soul. We can say whatever we want about Tony Sparano teams, but you weren't going to push them around.
No, I get it. Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't. And since then, this has been a bitch-ass team. Like, no matter what they do. Since Casey Rogers left this defense, you can run at the Dolphins whenever you want to.
Well, they had in those days, they had a better D line, much deeper, much more physical.
All right, then do what it takes.
They had a real commitment to having a big physical D line in those days.
All right, well, you got a big D line now.
They're not as deep as they were in those days.
Don't make excuses. Don't make excuses. It's a mentality.
I'm just telling you the truth.
Yeah, okay. They don't have a linebacker either. They don't have a linebacker.
Yeah,
How many tackles does Jerome Baker miss per game?
Yeah,
it's gotta be like 4.
Yeah, he's not an elite backer.
How many gaps do you see him shooting, stopping the run?
Yeah.
You know, and I hate to bring up Landon Roberts because I think he's doing the best that he can. On one leg, you saw him drag a leg on his touchdown interception, pick 6. Saw him drag a leg 40 yards down the field. But he shoots that gap, he blows somebody up, but does he make a tackle? Like, it's a mentality, and you did not do what it took to have a physical team, and now you want to sit there and be like, oh well, mistakes. Christian Wilkins might have played his best game yesterday. Did it matter?
Yeah, Seiler played well too.
Yeah, Seiler played well. And I think you have the personnel. You gotta stop. You gotta stop being, this soft physical team.
No,
the soft team. Yeah. It's time to bow up and stop getting pushed around. Like they got pushed around at the end of the game. Oakland with no offensive line.
Yeah.
Ran for 140 something yards. No offensive line.
And backup running back.
And a backup running back.
Yeah.
That they did that to you.
Yeah.
Like, don't make excuses.
No. And the coach didn't make any excuses.
No, he's never gonna make any excuses. But he's got to look at himself in the mirror and say, for 3 years, I've had a bitch ass team.
Yeah.
That you got to own that. Like 3 years.
Yeah,
you have had a bitch ass team. Like there's no argument about it. You can't stop the run. You can't run the ball. You can't protect the quarterback. That's on you. That's on you. That's I can't even put it on the GM because he's used resource after resource after resource. That's on you.
So what you're saying is you guarantee a win against the Colts this Sunday.
Yes, Jacoby Brissett game. Jacoby Brissett's revenge.
Yeah, there's only one guy that can't move faster than Jacoby Brissett, and that's Carson bent both ankles Wentz.
Hey, yes. I am guaranteeing a victory this week. I am, because you know what? I love revenge games. I love them. I love them.
Well, Jacoby's gonna love it. This is his chance to get back.
Listen, this is it. Like players always talk about, after the fact, like, yeah, I wanted that one. Like, this is the game. Matt Collins, his speech needs to be, let's do it for Jacoby.
Yeah, well, all week he'll tell you it's not important.
It's not important. It's not a big deal. It's just an ex-opponent. And
then after the game, some of the players after the game will say, "Oh yeah, we knew Jacoby wanted this badly, so we had to this." Yeah, so
I'm in everybody's ass next week if I'm Jacoby. Like everybody. Like you like Will Fuller. You got to do more, baby. Like
although they can win by 30 next week if they start Reed Sinnett. I'm just saying, if they start Reed Sinnett, he's got a chance there to really explode. So I'm just saying he's the secret weapon Omar. They just don't want to unleash him. I don't get it. I really don't. I think they're afraid that if Reed Sinnett comes off the bench, they'll never be able to go back to Tua again. And
That's clearly what it is.
Can you imagine? Yes.
Yeah.
The controversy that it would ensue after that.
All right. he the guy who lost his job to Josh Rosen.
Hey, he has grown. Okay, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
All right, what are you working on?
Reed.
What are you working on the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Man, I'm just trying to. I got to follow Flores and figure out what his mindset and mentality is for getting his team focused. I mean, I think last week was an opportunity where you couldn't give them that tough love. You couldn't kick them in the butt. This week, you got to kick them in the butt, man. Like, you're not playing up to your talent level, and you have to take ownership. If we took ownership for it last week as coaches, you got to take ownership for it this week as players. And I don't disagree with that mentality.
Let's see what happens this week, man. Would be nice to get 2-2. Follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch his work there at the South Florida SunSentinel.com. Omar, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up on Friday.
All right, talk to you later. Go.
This is the Big O Show. This is the